Hey guys, so today I thought we would do an update video on the farm since our kidding season is now officially over. And yes, it is over. June had her kids yesterday. Wasn't able to record it because she had them while we were gone, which is not something that I like to have happen. But, you know, these are animals. They're going to do what they want to do. So, and she was already overdue. I've been expecting for her to kid all week. And she finally decided to kid on day 156, which average gestation for a goat is between 145 days to 155 days. So she was considered overdue. So very glad that she was able to deliver them herself. June is our most experienced doe. She's our oldest doe, our matriarch. She just turned 5 last month. So I was comfortable leaving her alone and letting her handle herself. Now, had I known that she was going to have the kids, of course I would not have left her. I would have been with her in case she needed me. But June decided to play me for the fool and act like she was not in labor. Her udder did not feel all the way. I could still feel her ligaments even though they had gotten much looser. I could still feel them by the time that we left our house to go into town. So she completely fooled me. But I am glad to report that both of her bucklings are fine. They are nice, healthy, big boys. She did end up having just twins. She did not have triplets again this year, which honestly, everything that June went through last year, I'm kind of happy about that. For those that don't know what happened with June, last May, she ended up damaging some of the nerves in her face, and she lost control of her muscles in her face for about 3 months. The damage to the nerves, it made it where it was really hard for her to eat. She got down to an emaciated 96 pounds before she was able to turn around and start building her strength back up. So that was her ordeal last year. We were worried we were going to end up losing her. We were worried that we weren't going to be able to breed her again. But luckily, after the couple of months of just working with her, keeping her going, keeping her strength up, she was able to, you know, turn around and start getting the function back in her facial muscles. So she's doing great. Moral of the story. And we were able to kid her out. Her bucks are doing great. One of them is screaming at me right now because he wants me to come feed him. We ended up having a total of 13 does born and 5 bucklings born out of our Nubians this year. And of course we did end up losing 1 doe and 1 doeling, 1 kid from Prairie, you know. And then that was just our Nubians. Out of our Nigerians, we ended up having 3 does and 2 bucks. We ended up losing 1 of the does in birth, and we ended up losing 1 of the bucklings a few days after he ended up getting too chilled. So we did end up losing him as well. So this has been a really rough kidding season for us. You know, there was a lot of loss, which is very abnormal for us. Usually we have very good numbers. Usually if we even lose 1, that's a big deal for us. So this has definitely been the hardest kidding season on us. But, you know, overall, I think it was a good one. I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that I can, you know, sit back and have a little bit of relief now. But let me show you June's new kids and all of the kids that we still have running around with us and kind of get y'all up to speed on where we are right now. All right. So these are our little kids. These are all of the fairly newborn. Let's see. Show you who's who here. This one here, that is Selena. That was Dahlia's kid that was just born. This buckling right back here. They're not gonna let me. Alright, so this red roan buckling here, that is one of June's kids. One of the ones that was born yesterday. You can see how big he is compared to Selena, which is right here beside him. They are pretty much the same size. This spotted buckling here, that is June's other buck kid. And just look at the crazy spots he has on his head. Like, he looks like somebody just splattered paint all over him. And it is hilarious. He has all of these little spots on his back. And then on his head, he has two big spots. And one on his head and one on his neck. But he is a cool looking little dude. That's Livy right there. That's the kid that we got out of Prairie that we were able to save from her. That's Selena right there in front. And you can see those newborn bucklings of June's. They're not even a day old yet. And they are already just as big as these kids who are almost a week old. Livy, right there, Livy actually is over a week old now. She'll be 2 weeks old on Wednesday. But they are all doing really good. These are the two Nigerians that we have left. The gold one is Little Nugget. We are watching him for a little bit for his new owners. And then this one, this little girl here, tiny thing, that is Miss Elsa, as my daughter calls her. She's the last kid we have out of Gypsy. She is the little doe kid that she had. And we've just been keeping her, make sure that she does well because she is so tiny. Look at that little face. Look at it. Yeah. Oh, baby. I'm just going to try to break out. Alright, but that's all of our little kids that we still have. Big kids over here. Mr. Lightning. Still have him. This is Jazz, our black roan out of Razzle. This is Eileen. That's our keeper kid out of Peggy, which I'm going to do a full keeper kid video where we recap their names, their dams, their sires, and all of that information. So stay tuned for that in the next coming weeks. But this is Thunder. That's Lightning's brother. They're both out of Cami. That was our first two kids that we had born this year. And then of course there's Ginger Snap. That's Inslee's La Mancha doe that we brought in this year. And then this little girl right here, this is Miss Fire. Now Fire is the doe kid out of Drama that we ended up having to pull, and she, ended up hurting her back leg and knocking the hip out of socket. And you can see she now has her bandage off. She is using that leg, walking on it very well. So she is doing really good. She's just got to get some muscle mass in that back leg now. So eventually she will be for sale once I feel comfortable that she's got good movement and use of that back leg. But she's doing great. I'm very proud of her. Unfortunately, we won't be able to keep her because she just, with that leg, I doubt she would be able to show. And if we can't show her, I just don't really have room for another brood doe right now, and we keep our herd so small. It just wouldn't work out, unfortunately. But that is all of our kids. You can, as per usual, they're hollering at me because they're hungry. Always want to eat. Ginger, what you doing, girl? Alright, now let's go on over here to the doe pen. They've been over here sunbathing. They're all going to stand up now that I'm over here. There's Miss Peggy, Dahlia, Fancy. Got Cammy laid over here by the fence. June is back over there. And, you know, let me tell you, with June, you know, she just had those kids yesterday. You can hear them hollering in the background. And she's not even fazed. Or a lot of people would want to ask why we separate our kids, and you know, isn't that mean to the dams and the kids, you know, they don't get to stay with one another. They honestly do not care. You know, you separate them right away and they just could care less. I mean, is anybody bothered by the fact that you have no babies? Anybody at all? Nope. And honestly, those kids wouldn't even be crying right now if they had some food. There's Razzle and Drama. Hi, girls. They're being antisocial, I guess. And there's Mr. Cane Cane. Hey, Caney. Hey, buddy boy. Hey, pretty boy. He wants some love, too. Yeah, but all of the girls are doing really well. They are putting weight back on. They're getting into show shape. Our show season starts in about 3 weeks. So, really looking forward to that. Alright guys, so we are going to be making a new lamb bar for our younger kids today. We're just reworking it from one that we had last year. So the frame of it is already together, but let me show you what we've got going on here. Alright, so this is the frame we use. It is just cattle panel put together on 3 sides. This is just an old baking sheet. Well, I say old. We bought it new. It's old now because it's been in the weather for a year. But, yeah, just cooking sheet, holes cut in it for the nipples. We do 3 on each one. And then just tie it to the cattle panels with wire so they're not pushing it. Alright, so these are the nipples that we use. These you can get from Jeffers or Prime Supply. We've tried a couple of different ones, and these, at least with the Nubians, they seem to last the best. They're the toughest. And they also already have the holes for the tubes for the lamb bar. So, we really like these. You have to replace them about once a year, more or less, depending on how rough your kids are with them. But we really like these. And then you just put in the tubing. This is just 1/4 inch refrigerator tubing. It's not going to focus on that either, is it?
It's 1/4 inch inside diameter, 3/8 outside diameter.
Okay, 1/4 inch inside diameter, 3/8 outside, in case y'all couldn't hear what he said, what Dylan was saying about that. But it's refrigerator tubing you get at the hardware store. So, all common supplies. And then you can get the bucket lamb bar, which this one we have not used. We got this from one of our friends, so it has seen better days. Got to get it good and cleaned out for shows. But that is just the bucket system that is sold on Jeffers if you wanted something that is pre-made. The only thing about these is that you have to watch with your kids, like jumping down into the milk, getting milk all over them, or knocking it over. There's a sand that you can get with this, but you know, for the newborn kids, they can be kind of rough on this. So that's why we like to use the homemade one. And also, these are the little green valves. Oh, it focused on that. These are the little green valves that you put on the bottom of the tubes so that the milk, when the younger babies start sucking on it, they don't lose suction and the milk doesn't go back into the bucket. So we like using those with the newborns. Once they get a little bit older and better at it, you can actually take those off. And those are sold separately from Jeffers. Okay, so this is what it looks like after we get it all together. You've got the nipples sticking out on this side, hoses in the back. The only thing about these hoses is that it takes a while when they're brand new for them to actually like lay flat enough to stay in the jars. So you just kind of got to work with them a little bit and like keep flexing them. But you can see those green valves at the bottom. That's what sits in the jar and keeps it from coming back out, the milk going back out the tubes when they suck on it. So it's a pretty easy, simple system, and it works great. Since it is so hot and humid here in Alabama, it's early March and it's like 80 degrees today. So we do not leave our milk out all day long. So we will just put a gallon jar, put these tubes into that gallon jar, let them drink as much of it as they want, and then come out and feed them in a few hours. But up north with the Lambar systems, or if you have a way to keep it cold, a lot of people will just keep them on free choice milk, where you're able to just keep milk out full time and they just come and drink what they want as they want. You know, from our experience, this is, of course, a lot easier on us. When you have 8 or so kids running around, you don't have to bottle feed every single one of them. And it seems like to us that they grow better this way on this Lambar system. They kind of have that goat competition mentality where they're competing with the other kids, so it makes them want to eat more. So I think that has something to do with it. Let's get it set up in their stall and get them a container of milk, and we'll see how they do on this new Lambar. All right, so we've got a gallon of milk here. Going to get this down into the pan here with them and get the tubes in. Now these are the newborn kids. They are brand new to this, so it might take them a while to figure it out. They might not get to it right away, but let's see. Let's see, where's Libby? Libby. All right, let's see if she can figure it out. Libby's the oldest. She's been doing this the most. All right, and you see as she's sucking, that milk comes up into the tube. Almost got it. There you go. All right, and then that's how you train them to the Lambar. You just kind of get them on there. And the big thing is to make them stick with it until the milk gets all the way up the tube. The younger kids, especially if they're used to being bottle fed, it can take them longer to figure that out because they're used to just getting it as soon as they suck one time. Come on, Selena. All right. Well, there those two go. Now, Gina's kids, you know, they are brand new. They were just born yesterday, so they have never even seen a Lambar before. So it's going to take them a little bit longer. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get it figured out. So the best way to do that is to use one that is already primed. So Selena's here, already still has a bit of milk in it. I just want to get them up there and get them to start sucking on it. It takes them less effort to start getting it because they've already got the milk in the tube. Just gotta keep working with them. Some of them, it takes them a few days to figure out the system. But I'll show you with the big kids, once we feed them, how much easier it is once they get a good grasp of what they should be doing. Okay, so now we are going in here to bring the big kids their milk. You can see they have basically the same system. We have a frame around this one made out of 2x4s. That's just to keep them from moving it so much. So you can see they go right to town on it. They know exactly what to do. And get that milk right up there. There's 3-minute nipples, guys. Come on. There we go. This is why we don't keep the big kids and the little kids together, because the big kids fight too much for the little kids and they would never get any. Alright guys, so it is the next day. My camera ended up dying on me yesterday trying to film these older babies eating. So I'm going to give them their food now and let y'all see that. Alright, so here, just getting the jar in here. And just show y'all the difference in how well these older kids eat. Just put those tubes down in there. And you can see how rough they are with it, these older kids. That's why we have to separate the younger babies from these so they don't push the younger kids off and not let them get enough to eat. But they have no trouble getting all that they need from this. Alright, and I just monitor these older kids, and as soon as they are full, I will put them out, because if I don't, they're going to keep wanting to eat. You know, you could make a system where there's enough tubes for all of your kids to eat at once. This is the most amount of kids that we've had so far, so it's never been a problem until now. But usually we have enough nipples for the amount of kids we have, so they're not fighting and taking it over from one another. I'm just feeling. Alright, she's pretty full. The really old kids, like, they suck it down so quick. Alright, so now I've got those older kids out of the way. Now it's just the younger babies, the middle ground kids. And Fire still needs some help figuring it out. We've had her out here. Fire is the doeling of Dramas that had a hurt leg. This leg right here, she popped it out of socket and had to have it casted for 2 weeks. So she got her cast off a week and a half ago now, I think. Maybe 2 weeks ago. But we've had her outside for a few days now. She's doing really good, walking on that leg and everything. So she is still figuring out the slam bar system. So I have to help her just figure it out and get her on it. But after she's on there, she's able to eat all she wants by herself. As long as the other kids don't push her out of the way. There we go. Put her back on there. Alright guys, so yeah, that is our lamb bar system, and that is an update on all of the does and the kids that we currently still have. It changes every day, but we are done with kidding now and ready to get going with our regular videos. So if there is anything that y'all would like to see, please let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And follow us along with our journey this year. Our first show is in 3 weeks. So we are going to do our best to film that. So stay tuned for that.